Hi guys, my name is Peter and welcome to a new video. So in this video, I'm going to talk about cloud. So let us see what is cloud, how does cloud work, and why do even companies use cloud. So before that, one of the main reasons for making this kind of a video is that whenever we are learning any sort of technology, in that fact any skill, it is really important to understand the problem the technology that you are learning is solving. So if you have got a clear idea regarding the problem that the technology is solving, a lot of confusions that arise as you proceed can be resolved to a great extent. So that is one of the main objective of making this kind of a video, that is to understand the real problem that cloud computing as a whole is solving. So now let's get started and let us start off with understanding what is cloud. So I would like to present this topic with an example. So let us imagine that you are sitting here in India and you have created a website. So if you are in the web development, you know that when you are developing a website, your local machine, that is your personal laptop or your desktop, will act as a server to serve your website. But the moment when you turn off your computer, the website is no more accessible, and that defeats the entire purpose of having a website, right? So if you can't access a website, there is no point in having one. And also you can't practically keep your personal computer running 24/7 to serve your website. So that is also not really practical. And that is when we need to find a way in which you can kind of run your website 24/7 so that people can access it. But you can't really build a server in your house just to serve your personal website, right? In that fact, any website. So that is when cloud computing comes into the picture. So if you want to deploy your website onto cloud, the first thing that you need to do is to have an account on any sort of public cloud provider. In this case, you decided to go for AWS. So now you have an AWS account, and now all you have to do is to create a computer in the cloud, and it is called as a virtual computer. So here you can see that I have created a virtual computer. It is really an actual computer, but since you're accessing it through the cloud, it is called as a virtual computer. And I have decided to deploy or put my website in a server that is located in the US. So by sitting in India, I can deploy my website onto a server in the US. And this server in the US will be running 24/7, so anyone can access my website anytime and it will be readily accessible. Now, all I did was to create an account on AWS, spin up an EC2 instance, which is the virtual machine itself, and deploy my website onto that virtual machine. And now things are accessible. So that is actually the beauty of cloud computing. So now I hope that you guys got a pretty basic idea regarding what is cloud. And now let's actually also understand the definition of cloud computing. So you can see that cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of computing power, database, storage, applications, and other IT resources through a cloud service platform via the internet with pay-as-you-go model. So here I want to actually point your attention to some of the keywords. One of them are on-demand delivery of computing power. So that is one of the key advantages of having a cloud, or basically using a cloud. So if you have an on-premise setup, by on-premise I mean that you'll be having your servers and other networking equipments in your office, say for example. So in that case, if you want to scale, you need to go out, buy a server, set it up, configure it, and deploy it. So it actually takes a couple of days. But in the case of cloud, if you want a server, you can just wake up, go to your public cloud provider's console and spin up an EC2 instance, or maybe any machine, virtual machines, databases, storage, anything, and you'll be having your resource within seconds. So that is on-demand delivery. Based on your demand, within seconds you can provision these resources, and that is one of the key advantage of cloud. And another thing is the pay-as-you-go model. So if you are using a virtual machine for 10 hours, you just need to pay the price for those 10 hours only. So this is actually a really good model for any sort of businesses, because they can cut their costs to a great extent because they are only paying for the resources that they have used. And these things are the unique selling points of cloud. That is the on-demand delivery, pay-as-you-go model, and other factors like flexibility, scalability, and these things make cloud a really good option for businesses. So now let's move to the next topic, that is Why companies use cloud? Now you may know that a lot of companies are migrating to cloud. New companies are actually starting off with deploying their applications on cloud. Let us really understand why they are doing so. What makes cloud a lucrative options for businesses, large scale and both small scale as well. So let us imagine that we have got a company A. Let us imagine that it is a new startup, and let us imagine that they have decided to go on premise. So as I already said, on premise is a networking setup wherein you'll be having your servers, networking components and all other things within your premise. Let us say that you have got an office and you'll be having all these servers and other equipments in your office itself. And if you are setting up an on-premise network, you'll need to have router, switches, firewalls to protect your devices, gateways to connect to the internet, cabling to connect all these networking equipments together, and air conditioning. So let me talk about air conditioning for a minute. So most of you guys will be having gaming laptops or even laptops and smartphones. So if you perform any sort of computational intensive tasks like gaming, rendering, any sort of things, you know that the amount of heat your device produces or generates. And these servers, they are run 24/7. Once they are set up, they will be never turned off unless and until something really bad happens, like we need to kind of change some servers, perform some really intense maintenance. Other than that, these servers will be run throughout the year, and these things produce a lot of heat. And when these things produce a lot of heat, the CPU, the memory, they kind of tend to degrade in their performance. So they need an optimal temperature in order to work efficiently. So air conditioning is a mandatory factor to keep these components cool so that they can perform to their maximum potential. So all these things together is called as capital expenditure. So this is the amount of money that the company or the business needs to put right in front to set up an on-premise network. And this doesn't end here. If you have a server, small or big, you need to have employees to maintain it. At least you need to have 2 employees to kind of maintain the servers together, like to perform periodic maintenance, update software, update the firmware, to monitor all these things together. We need to have employees. Otherwise, if something goes wrong, your application will be down, and nobody wants that to happen. So employees are an really important factor to maintain the entire server. And of course, you need to pay labor for having employees. And we need to also have electricity. These servers, as I said before, will be run 24/7. They will never be shut off. So these consumes a lot of electricity, both in terms of air conditioning, as well as these resources, computational resources also consumes a lot of electricity. So all these things, electricity, employees and other resources, all add up to a lot of cost. And this can be categorized as operational expenditure. That is the amount of money that a business need to spend in order to operate this particular service. So on one side, we have got capital expenditure where the company need to acquire all these resources. And on the other side, we have got operational expenditure where the company need to have resources like employees and other periodic bills that need to pay in order to maintain or operate the servers. So you can imagine the amount of money that an organization need to spend just in order to maintain a server. So if you have a really large organization with hundreds of servers, you can just imagine the scale at which all these things are operating. And that is when cloud computing comes into play. So with cloud computing, you need not worry about any of these things that I mentioned. All you have to do is to go to your console, whether it be AWS, Azure, GCP or anything. Go to your cloud service provider, decide what all resources that you need and launch them. And you are done right there. You need not worry about equipments, you need not worry about maintenance, you need not worry about electricity, cooling. All those things will be taken care by the cloud service provider. All you have to do, as I said before, is to provision the resources that you need. So this is what makes cloud computing a much better option for a lot of businesses, because nobody wants to waste their time, effort and money on maintaining the servers when someone else is actually providing an option to do all these things for you. So that is what makes cloud computing a really unique technology, as well as a much lucrative options for businesses to get started. So I have been praising cloud computing a lot till now, but there are situations in which companies or organizations need to go for on-premise setup. So if you take a case for governmental organizations or military operations, the amount of data or the confidentiality of the data is extremely high. So they don't really want their data to go out of their hands into some public cloud providers data center. So in those kind of really critical scenarios, these organizations will maintain a private cloud or an on-premise setup where they'll be having 100% control of their servers, their data and all. Cloud computing is also a really highly available technology. 99% of the time they will be available. That is, all of the resources will be available. But if something really bad happens, only then these servers will be down. So if you are following cloud computing, you might know certain outages that happens, but that is pretty rare. And now I really hope that you guys got a basic idea regarding cloud computing and why companies prefer using cloud computing, because capital and operational expenditure doesn't even really exist in cloud computing. All you have to do is to pay for the resources that you use, and that is it. That makes cloud computing a really better option for any sort of businesses. So now let us see some of the cloud providers. So AWS is the pioneer of cloud computing. They have got a really head start advantage in the cloud computing technology, and they have got hundreds of services, and they keep on adding new services as well. So AWS is way ahead, and Azure and GCP is not that far behind, and they have got a lot of market share these days. They are also expanding really fast, and if you have a question or a doubt regarding what cloud provider that I really want to start off, I would suggest to start off with any cloud provider, because the fundamental concept of everything is pretty much same. Virtual machines, visualization, hypervisors, all these things are pretty same. If you have got an idea regarding one cloud provider, it is going to be much easier to switch to another. So other than AWS, Azure and GCP, we have got Alibaba Cloud, Oracle, IBM, VMware. A lot of other cloud providers are also available. So these are some of them. So summarizing, I hope that you guys got an idea regarding what is cloud computing, the advantages of it, the on-demand delivery, pay-as-you-go model, the advantage that a cloud computing provides when we compare it with on-premise. I hope that you guys got a basic idea regarding all these things. So please do comment down below what you guys think about cloud computing, your opinions and your views, and I'm really happy to read about your thoughts as well. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.